Welcome to the CS Roundup with Russell and Jan. I'm Russell,
And I'm Jan.
and today our topic is how to get your data ducks in a row. We brainstormed this topic and we didn't really talk about what we wanted to talk about so that we could have the element of surprise once we came live. So let's start by me asking you, what do you think this topic is?
Well, I talk about data ducks and getting them in a row pretty regularly. Um, for me, it's about the process of getting your data to a usable state. And because you need to be able to trust and verify your data, you need to be able to, ensure that you're gathering data on a regular basis so that it is really what's happening with your accounts. And, just so much information is in people's heads that, I just feel like, there's some key things that need to happen. Some of it is setting up your systems to collect the data in a way that is easiest for your team, but also like it gets into sort of nerding out a little bit where it's like unique identifiers. Do you have a way, because we collect data in so many different places? It might be in Salesforce or HubSpot, it might be or some sort of CRM or just some, Google spreadsheet, depending upon, size of your company. But, there's also something like, Zendesk and other types of tools that maybe support is using, ticketing systems. There's usage data. Sometimes that's in a proprietary database. Sometimes that's, in other places, maybe you use something like Pendo or some of those tools. There's so many different places where information about our customers lives, and it often doesn't play nice together. And so the other key thing is if you don't have what is known as a unique identifier, where it's just like a field that you can't mess up, that is like it just automatically gets generated anytime you add a new account. And then that is the key to that account. So you can't like misspell the name of an account or something, or not, or have an extra space by accident, or go with the parent company name instead of, what everyone refers to it as, or, also known as, that kind of stuff, right? Like there's so many different ways you can refer to an account. But if you have something that's like, ABC, 01234, and then it changes and it says, ABC 0125, ABC 10126, for each new account, where you're just going up by an integer or something like that, like boom, that there's never a mistake in that. And then you can connect it across all of those. So like it is the devil is in those details, but it is in those details, or else you can't trust your data. And from there, then you get to do all kinds of magic. But without doing that, you don't have any magic. That's my opinion on data ducks and
I like that.
why you
I've
want them
worked
in a row.
Yeah, I've worked in an instance of Salesforce where there was a field for, I think we called it customer ID or customer number or
Yeah,
something like that. It's exactly what you're talking about. And it helps to deduplicate accounts. The other thing you can do, by the way, is search your ERP for the URL,
mm-hmm.
right? And so people can misspell accounts, people can duplicate accounts. But the bottom line is the contacts associated with those accounts have to have an email address. And that
Right.
domain is it's unmess upable. And so if
Yeah.
you search for that domain, all of these different accounts might show up. And then you can consolidate and have a full 360 view within your ERP and then across systems too.
Yeah, the tough thing about URL, even though they are unique, by definition, just being out on, on the interwebs, so to speak, is that um, that who knows how long that's going to be, and are there going to be slashes in it, and then it can go on longer, and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's one way of doing it, but you're better off just do yourself a favor and have a unique identifier, and it's not exactly too late to do it. It just requires cleanup if you haven't done it from the beginning. But it's
Yeah.
always worth the time you take to do that cleanup, because then that is done. Then it's reliable. But and And then there's all the other steps you can do in terms of setting up your platform so that they're usable and you can collect data in the easiest manner possible, because you want to ensure that people aren't having to spend an extra day job at just maintaining data, because then it'll never happen.
Right. Right. No, I think you're right on. So I want to say what I thought our topic was going to be, or when we chose our topic, what did I think this was about? And I interpreted our topic as how to get your data ducks in a row, dot dot dot, in order to choose a CS tool, right? And I think that there
Oh,
is this fear, a founded fear, that your data out is only as good as your data in, and
yeah.
that you could not possibly consider getting a CS tool if you have what you consider to be dirty or incomplete data.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that that is, letting perfection get in the way of good. I also think it's almost a little bit okay, or maybe even better, if you don't have all your ducks in a row. And so my message today was going to be, don't worry about it. Don't get your ducks in a row until you choose the right tool for you and figure out what it needs,
Oh,
right?
you are killing me, Russell. You can't tell me no.
You have to get it. Look, data out is only as good as data in, and so you do have to get it in a row at some point. But don't let that stop you from taking step one. And more
But
to the
step
point,
one should never be to get a tool before you're ready. You get a tool and you start spending money on a tool, you have no use for it if you don't have, a way to connect your data and get it in there. You're just sitting there paying for a tool while it can do nothing for you. Why waste your money on a tool when you haven't done some of the basic steps? You know,
here's
or
the
like or
here's
like
the problem. So it's a give and take though, right? Because if you get all that stuff set up, you are going to be somewhat married to it. And I've seen teams that had certain systems set up, and frankly, it was set up in a really goofy way. And then they brought in a CS tool, and it was this new and shiny tool that had really set processes around it. And all they did was bend and distort that tool to accommodate all the goofy stuff they did. And then they were stuck at that
wait,
level of
where did they
maturity.
do goofy stuff? Because a unique identifier is not goofy.
Yeah, I'm
Unique
not talking about the unique
identifier,
identifier.
yeah. So you're saying they did something else to manipulate their data because they went so long without a CS tool.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so
Huh, that is
they
goofy.
had set up really not very well written dependencies between systems. It resulted in a lot of data gaps. And then when they went ahead and kept those processes in place that were pretty broken and fed them into the CS tool, then it was unusable, right?
Of course, yeah.
So where I see
But they didn't get
companies
their data ducks in a
benefiting the
row.
best from a CS tool is when they more or less say, we'd like to evaluate this tool out of the box, what can it do? And then we want to change our processes to actually take advantage of that. And so if that means structuring the way that we pull reporting in a different way, if it means adding or subtracting fields that might be confusing us, we'll do that. Things
Okay,
that are connected into the CS tool.
okay, so that is an example of a company that waited too long before getting a CS tool, and because all of those other tools were not CS tools, they had to do all these pretzels, and put paper clips and bubble gum and rubber
Right,
bands around things to try and
right.
get things to connect and work.
And
So
from their point of view, they thought they
they
were
did
getting their ducks in a row,
not put their ducks in a row.
but they thought they did.
That is a prime
Yeah,
example of wasting your time. Like in that respect, there are tools out there where the first 100 companies, accounts are free. Go and get an account like that before it's too late, if that's what you're doing, right? But but um but no. Getting your data ducks in a row is just figuring out, like, what are some of the base ways that we need to connect this data. What have we not collected, or what sort of gaps do we have? It's just assessing that, so that then you're ready to pull it together in some way, not with paper clips and bubble gum. No, don't. That's like shooting yourself in the foot. Don't do that.
okay, so here's our bottom line message today. Don't do it too soon, and don't do it once you've already used too many paper clips and bubble gum.
Well, you should do it. You just have to be prepared for getting rid of the paper clips and bubble gum. That's all. You know what I mean? Like, don't, it doesn't help you to do it too late either. Yes.
Because then you'll have to undo the weird stuff you did to prop it up in the meantime.
Yeah, recognize if you're doing backflips, to try and like just figure out your data, then stop doing that. Like be nice to yourself and give yourself some tools that will help you analyze what's happening with your customers so you can be proactive. And the first step in that is getting your data ducks in a row.
All right. We'll leave it at that. It's always a pleasure. And I'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks.